Holy shit. He said what?
Royal family mired in one of its biggest crises in history.
Prince Harry, Meghan Markle and their children could be set to lose their royal titles and when Prince William becomes monarch.
Prince William now winning this huge battle with his father King Charles for there to be an Act of Parliament introduced at Westminster to jettison not just Prince Andrew, Beatrice and Eugenie, but also Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, Archie and Lily once and
The palace just made its boldest move yet, and Prince Harry is officially out of time. Overnight reports claim senior officials have begun formal discussions to strip Harry of his royal titles, a step no monarch has taken against their own blood in over a century. But here's the twist. Instead of silence, Harry is already on a plane rushing back to the UK. He's not coming for a ceremony. He's coming to stop a war against his own name.
thought the Prince Andrew scandal was the end of the changes that are coming under King William V. Let me tell you, you are.
For months, whispers of a royal crackdown have circled Buckingham Palace, but those whispers turned into action the moment King Charles stepped back for cancer treatment and Prince William took control. Behind those guarded gates, a quiet and ruthless reshaping of power is underway, one that could redefine what the monarchy even is. And at the center of it all is a son branded a liability by the very institution he once called home.
Charles and Prince William still believe Meghan Markle is a bigger threat to the royal family than Prince Andrew.
The problem started with their Freedom franchise. Each Netflix special, each explosive interview chipped away at the crown's dignity. To the establishment, Meghan's rumored plans for a luxury brand inspired by royal elegance wasn't entrepreneurship, it was exploitation. Inside the palace, patience has run out. Senior courtiers now whisper that William views the Sussexes not as family, but as a brand contaminant that threatens the monarchy's entire global image.
To say there is a growing feeling within Buckingham Palace that Prince William is winning the argument and that Charles may have to take a political stance on that.
This isn't personal revenge, it's cold corporate brand protection. While his father wages a private battle with illness, William has assumed control of the royal machine with a surgical vision, a monarchy that is leaner, cleaner, and immune to scandal. He's ending the franchise. By stripping their titles, William is sending a signal to the world that the monarchy isn't hereditary chaos, it's a corporation, and the Sussexes have violated the terms of their contract.
William knows that it is unpalatable for the British monarchy to keep this disastrous couple in the mix when it comes to Andrew and Fergie, but also to have Harry and Meghan constantly dragging down the brand. Both couples are an issue.
Yeah, I feel very strongly that Harry and Meghan should be cut.
It all started so differently, the fairy tale wedding, the promise of a modern monarchy, but by 2020, their mission for independence quickly morphed into a media empire built on palace shadows. Every private slight became a headline, and every headline became a profit stream. The couple who pleaded for privacy were suddenly producing it on demand, and with every interview, they weren't just telling their story, they were dismantling the family's.
This is so ridiculous, and what O'Brien said about him being a military hero is as ridiculous as when Harry got that award for being a hero of flight. I just about fell off my chair when I.
This wasn't a sudden decision. It started quietly, with whispers in Parliament about new legislation allowing titles to be revoked by vote. Then came the data. Polls showing the Sussexes' approval ratings had plunged, even falling below the scandal-stained Prince Andrew. That revelation hit harder than any headline. It proved the couple who claimed the moral high ground had officially lost the public's trust.
William knows that it's not just Andrew and Sarah and Beatrice and Eugenie which need to be dealt with. It's Harry, Meghan, Archie and Lily too. And he wants his father to be tougher. I think that has to happen. I really, really do.
Across the Atlantic, the glow has already begun to fade. Hollywood, once enchanted by their royal glitter, now watches with polite exhaustion. Their Netflix series broke records, but so did the backlash, with viewers calling it a luxury grievance project. Even advocacy groups have quietly distanced themselves. The brutal truth is that everything they accuse the institution of, privilege, image control, exploitation, has become their own brand.
You know, it's such a joke, Dan. Here Harry and Meghan are getting awards for being humanitarians. And humanitarians don't treat family like that. They don't betray their country like
But the most brutal judgment hasn't come from the palace, it's come from the public. In Britain, the sympathy that once shielded them has curdled into indifference. Their attempts to control their image online have backfired into memes and mockery. The couple who wanted to escape royal scrutiny have become trapped in a harsher court, public opinion, and in that court, the audience is turning away.
This is nonsense. They hate it. They didn't like the royal family. They left 5-6 years ago now because they hated it all. Okay, go away. The Queen wished them well, but that's not good enough. What they want is to keep on nagging, to keep on making things difficult for anyone who's royal.
As Harry races home to face a future he tried to outrun, the story feels less like a royal crisis and more like a warning. The palace may move to strip their titles, but the public has already stripped something far more important, their credibility. Reputation isn't a right, it's a rhythm, and once you lose the beat, the world stops listening. But if the royal family can erase its own blood to protect the throne, what other stories have they erased? To see how deep this pattern goes, watch our investigation into what Meghan's mother admitted about Archie and Lilibet.
Actually would go as far to say that Harry is a traitor because he betrayed his country, he betrayed one of the leading institutions of his country, the monarchy. He disgraced the monarchy.
But let's be clear about what this stripping of titles actually means, because it's not as simple as erasing a name from a document. The monarchy is an ancient machine with gears and levers most of the world never sees. The primary weapon being discussed is a constitutional relic, the Titles Deprivation Act of 1917. This law was forged in the fires of World War I, designed specifically to strip the British titles from German royals who were fighting against the crown. It was a wartime measure, a legal guillotine created for enemies of the state. The fact that palace officials are even considering dusting it off to use against the king's own son tells you everything you need to know. This isn't a family squabble anymore. In their eyes, Harry's actions are being treated as a form of constitutional treason.
Absolutely disgusting. They don't deserve to have any attention from the royal family. And the more that they go on and on about it, the harder we must.
To enact this, it would likely require a vote in Parliament, turning a private family crisis into a public spectacle on the floor of the House of Commons. Imagine politicians debating the loyalty and value of Prince Harry live on television. The evidence presented wouldn't just be his interviews, it would be financial reports, brand impact studies, and polling data from across the Commonwealth. This is the new royal doctrine under William's de facto leadership. Decisions are not made on sentiment, but on data. Queen Elizabeth II's famous mantra was never complain, never explain. William's emerging philosophy is measure, analyze, and amputate. He is treating the Sussex problem not as a matter of the heart, but as a hostile takeover bid that must be neutralized by any means necessary.
William, let me be clear, does not believe his father, the cancer-stricken king, has gone far enough. He thinks Andrew should not even be a prince. He certainly should not be in the United Kingdom. Exile is the only answer. But the problem is that requires an act of parliament. That act of parliament, I am told, William also intends to use to finally jettison the Sussex.
And this is where the true stakes of Harry's desperate flight back to London become terrifyingly clear. He isn't just losing the Duke of Sussex title. Losing that formal peerage would be a symbolic blow, but the real kill shot would be the removal of his status as prince. Being a prince is not a title, it is a fundamental state of being, a style bestowed by the sovereign at birth. To remove it is to fundamentally alter his identity in the eyes of the state and the world. It would sever the last formal link connecting him, his wife, and crucially, his children, to the institution. Without the prince and princess titles, Archie and Lilibet are not royal grandchildren living abroad. They are simply private citizens. This move would effectively build a constitutional wall around the House of Windsor, and Harry and his family would be on the other side.
She's an incredibly unpleasant woman. The children don't need anything. They're little kids. They don't even know who their grandfather is, or either grandfathers actually, and they don't need how to be royal people. So let's leave it. Let them have their own.
This potential erasure of his core identity directly impacts the one issue Harry has fought for more than any other: security. His entire legal battle with the UK Home Office has been predicated on his unique status and the inherent threat level that comes with it. He argues that being the king's son makes him a target, regardless of his working royal status. But if the state formally declares he is no longer a prince, his legal argument collapses. The palace would be able to say, with the full backing of Parliament, he is a private citizen, and his security is a private matter. It's a checkmate move that solves a massive, expensive, and embarrassing headache for the government and the royal family in one fell swoop. It isolates him completely, leaving him to fund a presidential-level security detail entirely on his own forever. Let's not forget the commercial implications. The Sussex brand, whether they admit it or not, runs on the high-octane fuel of their royal connection. Harry, Duke of Sussex, is a global calling card that opens any door and commands seven-figure fees. But what about Harry Mountbatten Windsor, private citizen? The mystique evaporates. The value proposition plummets. Corporate boards and streaming giants aren't paying for his opinions, they are paying for his proximity to 1,000 years of history. By stripping the titles, William isn't just punishing his brother, he's executing a brutal corporate strategy, deliberately devaluing a competitor's main asset. He's not just closing the franchise, he's trying to bankrupt it. This ruthless efficiency is the hallmark of the new guard. While Queen Elizabeth II often sought to manage and contain crises, William appears to believe in exterminating them. We are seeing the rise of a corporate monarchy, one that understands that in the 21st century, the greatest threat isn't a revolution, it's brand illusion. Catherine, the Princess of Wales, is the perfect embodiment of this new vision. Every public appearance is a masterclass in quiet dignity and flawless execution. She is the anti-Meghan, dutiful, silent, and fiercely loyal to the institution. The contrast is deliberate. She is the model franchisee, reinforcing the core brand values, while the Sussexes are positioned as the rogue operators who went off menu and are now facing termination. So what can Harry possibly hope to achieve by flying into the heart of the storm? His trip is a desperate gamble. He likely knows he cannot win a direct confrontation with the palace machine, which is now firmly in his brother's control. Instead, he might be attempting a flanking maneuver. His target isn't William, it's his father. He's betting that King Charles, facing his own mortality, might have a different perspective than his more pragmatic and cold-blooded heir. Harry could be appealing to the father, not the monarch, hoping to secure a temporary truce or a less severe punishment, perhaps a suspension of the titles, rather than a permanent removal. It's a plea for sentiment in a regime that is rapidly eradicating it. However, he may be underestimating the power of the men in gray suits, the senior courtiers and advisors who form the permanent government of the monarchy. These are the individuals who see monarchs come and go, and their ultimate loyalty is not to a person, but to the crown as an abstract entity. For years, they viewed the Sussexes' unpredictable PR strategy as a direct threat to the stability they have spent their lives cultivating. In William, they have found a royal principal who not only listens to their advice, but shares their unsentimental view of the monarchy as an institution that must be preserved above all else. They are the ones drafting the legal strategies and presenting the grim polling data. Harry isn't just fighting his brother, he's fighting the entire royal establishment, and it's an establishment that has finally found its champion. The final, chilling possibility is that this is a trap. The palace may have deliberately leaked these formal discussions to force Harry's hand, compelling him to return to the UK on their terms. By arriving in London, he is no longer a distant critic lobbing grenades from California. He is on their territory, subject to their rules of engagement. Any secret meetings will be documented, any conversations potentially used against him. He is walking into a negotiation where his opponents have already decided the outcome. The only question left to answer is the terms of his surrender. The war for his name might already be over, and this final flight home is not a battle charge, but the long, lonely walk of a defeated general coming to sign the treaty. This entire saga reveals a fundamental truth about modern power: institutions will always protect themselves. The royal family is not a family in any conventional sense. It is a corporation, a state, and a living symbol. And when a symbol is under threat, it will shed any part of itself to survive. Harry believed he could be half in, half out, enjoying the status of a prince while living the life of a celebrity. But the crown demands total allegiance or none at all. He tried to rewrite the terms of his contract, and now the CEO is preparing to fire him in the most public and humiliating way imaginable. But in this corporate restructuring, an even bigger question looms. What happens to the assets? Specifically, the line of succession. If Harry is truly excised, does that change the future for his children? And who stands to benefit most from their removal? To understand the shocking legal loophole that could promote another royal over Archie and Elizabeth, watch our next video.